to the Right Corner YouTube channel. You are back again for the Zim political updates. What are Zimbabwean politicians saying on X space, formerly Twitter? What is happening in and outside Zimbabwe? Unfiltered information and updates, reporting it as it is here on the Right Corner YouTube channel. So please subscribe. Getting into business straight. We are looking at the final report from the Southern African Development Community SADC in relation to the just ended ZIM elections. We all know that Zimbabweans held elections on the 23rd and 24th of August, which led to His Excellency President Emerson Mnangagwa winning with a 52%, whilst the main opposition leader, Nelson Chamisa, won with a 44%. Now, we know the elections were said to be disputed. Some were saying they are rigging and all those kind of funny stuff that were coming out in relation to the results of the just ended election. And right now, the Southern African Development SADC has sent a final report in relation to the elections, probably to silence all the naysayers, all the words that were being said in relation to the ZIM elections, so that at least as a country probably move forward and have new things that leads to the movement or progress of our nation and the economy. That's what I think. I need to look at what people are breaking down the SADC our final report. I'm going to first look at Promising Kwananzi, the Citizens Coalition for Change spokesperson, who posted on his X account that a section in the SADC final report provides a summary definition of concepts and acronyms. Of all the 9 of the 10 concepts relevant to the question of elections, the Zimbabwe election fell abysmally short on all of them. By just subjecting what happened to Zimbabwe on the 23rd of August 2023 to the attached test and definition, it is clear that what happened in Zimbabwe, according to the SADC definition of electoral concepts, was not and can never be considered to have been an election. It is important for the people of Zimbabwe to refuse to be diverted from this fundamental issue by ZANU-PF's diversionary tactics as we fight to restore our stolen parliamentary NCs. Let's stay focused on the main agenda, which is the demand for a proper election in Zimbabwe. According to the attached concepts and what happened in Zimbabwe, there was no clear election in Zimbabwe. Accordingly, as President Nelson Chamisa has repeatedly stated, all offices, bureaus who were produced by the August 2023 electoral sham are illegitimate. They are there as a result of a flawed election and because nature abhors a vacuum. Hence, they are illegitimate and exist on an interim caretaker basis until a credible election is conducted. And the attached part of the page 1 of the SADC final report in relation in particular to the Zimbabwean elections. Promising Kwananzi goes on to say, to conclude our breakdown of the SADC final report, a few factors deserve to be noted. 1. The report nowhere states that the elections were free, fair and credible. In fact, it concludes that some aspects fell short of a free and fair election. It doesn't congratulate Mr. Mnangagwa or explicitly endorse his election as reflective of the true will of the people of Zimbabwe. Out of a whole 32-page document that is critical and forthright in its assessment of the flawed electoral process that happened in Zimbabwe, ZANU-PF propagandists have chosen only one item to clutch on straw, on which is 13.4 of the concluded that advises aggrieved parties to approach the courts in Zimbabwe so as to exhaust domestic remedies. We decided not to approach the courts and stated our reasons very clearly. The courts are captured, biased and compromised. They cannot provide factual effective remedy to any aggrieved party, especially in a high-stakes contestation like the presidential election. Lastly, it must be noted that we applaud SADC for the unprecedented work it did in Zimbabwe and the frank report it produced. We encourage SADC to maintain this principled stand not just in Zimbabwe but across the region. It is now up to us as Zimbabweans to make sure that we bring the pressure to bear. We have been vindicated not just by SADC but by all the EOM's election observer missions that observed the elections. We demand a fresh, free and fair election. This was promising Kwananzi. In the same note, the Citizens Coalition for Change on their X account posted that Zim elections fell short of Constitution and SADC principles as part of what was said in SADC final report. They stated that the SADC Electoral Observation Mission (COM) has submitted its final report on the harmonized elections held in Zimbabwe on August 23 and 24, 2023. The report strongly supports the CCC's demand for fresh elections as it reviews numerous glaring irregularities that occurred during the recently ended elections. According to the report, the conducted elections fell short of the requirements outlined in the Constitution of Zimbabwe, the Electoral Act, and the SADC principles and guidelines governing democratic elections. The report highlights the notorious and shadow group called Forever Association Zimbabwe FAZ, which engaged in acts across the country. Additionally, the report captures the controversy surrounding the Maintenance of Peace and Order Act (MOPA), which banned and disrupted more than 108 of our rallies and meetings. This act requires notifying the Zimbabwe Republic Police of any campaign activities. Moreover, the report exposes the manipulation of the delimitation process by ZEC in collaboration with ZANU-PF, effectively favoring the latter through gerrymandering. The issue of the voters' roll is also raised as its printing, storage, and distribution were kept secret until today. The actual voters' roll used in the past election remains unknown. Furthermore, deliberate actions aimed at frustrating potential voters in CCC strongholds were observed, such as the failure of ZEC to deliver voting materials on the polling day, resulting in over 2 million voters being unable to cast their votes. The report reveals that prior to the election day, ZEC assured the COM and other stakeholders of the availability and readiness of all necessary voting materials. However, the subsequent information from ZEC indicating a sort of paper is doubts about the credibility of their electoral process. ZEC's collusion with ZANU-PF is evident in the deliberate disenfranchisement of millions of potential voters, especially in CCC strongholds like Harare, Bulawayo, and Mutare. The report further exposes the biased composition of ZEC's commissioners, who have close ties to top members of ZANU-PF. The report also sheds light on the torture, abduction, and killings endured by CCC members. Another alarming finding is the capture of the judicial system by the ZANU-PF government, as the judiciary received significant financial and material incentives before the elections. This was an attempt to secure the loyalty and allegiance of the judiciary. Given this numerous irregularities, the citizens of Zimbabwe demand fresh elections as comprised by the electoral environment and did not provide a conclusive atmosphere for a credible election. To ensure thus, a transitional authority supported by ZAC must be established to oversee the fresh elections in a new electoral environment. The current Zimbabwe Electoral Commission cannot be trusted to administer these elections. This was the Citizens Coalition for Change as they were trying to break down, analyze what was said in the final report by SADC. However, ZANU-PF has been responding on X accounts, posting that from the SADC report, what they are trying to say is that their breakdown was that the SADC report is making it clear that no rerun will be done. There will be no fresh election in Zimbabwe. All the elections are done, and if ever there's going to be a negotiation, the Citizens Coalition for Change leader, Mr. Chamisa, has to show up so that they engage in a conversation so as to make progress as a nation. Thank you for watching the Red Corner YouTube channel. Please subscribe.